Sometimes the most simple hairstyles can be the most challenging. So why not start off with a challenge? I told you it was going to be easy. Well, maybe. What we're going to do is a very smooth style, very classic and elegant on my beautiful model, Ashley. Her hair, as you saw, was already preset by blow drying and then working with a curling iron to create a nice, smooth effect with lots of bounce and movement. So the hairstyle, I'm going to actually be working on sweeping the hair across, a nice wave through here. I'm not going to marcel, I'm actually going to work with the wave that we have created through our barrel curl, and the hair is going to sweep across and have a jewel in the back. So I'm going to start off by directing the hair backwards, but before I do that, a little bit of a secret. I'm going to turn around, and in here, you can see that I have backcombed and braided the hair right the way through this part here. And the reason for that is that when I sweep the hair across and I put a comb in here, if I put the comb in the hair like this, it falls out. I'm going to actually do some back brushing, and then when I put my comb in, it's going to come in through to here. Well, it's going to work like that with a 4-inch nail, okay? Don't go away. First section is going to be right here. And I am just going to very, very gently back brush underneath here, subdivide, and what I want to do is just create some volume. Back brushing with a meshing technique. So here I'm going to just softly, you can see, roll the brush through. My next section coming through. Soft. And what this meshing technique does is it just gives me control of the hair, because it turns it into a more pliable fiber, and it gives me some volume. As I come across, I'm going to now be directional. So here, back brushing through and over. My next section, back brushing across. Now I'm coming right the way across that braided area. And my next section also coming in that same direction, back brushing over. So the idea in this meshing technique is that I'm rolling the brush, smoothing over. Rolling, directional, smoothing over, so that we can get that nice flow. Now, consultation. When you're working on a hairstyle like this, obviously you must have your full facts. What is the event? What is the dress? So that you're looking beyond the obvious of bone structure, body type, hair texture. You're looking at the bigger picture of where that client is going to be. So here, when I'm doing this, I've got to be very mindful of the neckline, the silhouette, so that I can make sure that my hairstyle is completely in proportion. Now notice here, I'm using the edge of the brush and coming across, edge of the brush and coming across to smooth. I'm going to use my sectioning clips just to help me see that my shape is working, so I can step back and look at the big picture. Now I'm going to work through the very last part here. I'm going to turn towards camera so you can see. She's got gorgeous hair, hasn't she? Oh, beautiful, darling. We could pretend that you're my daughter. I'd love to have a daughter as beautiful as you. The only thing we've got in common is red hair. Let's start. Okay, so now I'm going to come through on this last section. And I'm going to spin around to camera. Rock, 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 as I come through with that tension, right the way down to the bottom. Now, when you're dressing hair, the most important thing is your set, the foundation. And now I'm just going to push that wave in there. Push. This is where a 4-inch nail would be really, 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 really good to hold everything in place. It wouldn't be so good for you though, would it? Okay, so we're going to shape that wave in. Push. And waves are so popular, as you know. Beautiful look. The back combing helps. Clipping into the ear is always an interesting feature. You okay? Now notice here, just you see how I can actually take that wave out and then just gently start to manipulate and get the shape there. So now, let's see if this comb is going to work. Into my back combing and my braided area. Drum roll. Please stay in place. I promise you, in the rehearsal, it stood in place. But if it doesn't want to behave itself, let's try a bobby pin directly inside. These jewels, although they're fake, they are fabulous, but they are very, very heavy. There we go. So you can see the set is so important. The art of how you gently mesh to create your perfect back combing technique, manipulating the hair. We're keeping the pins in place, and now we're going to get dressed into her outfit, and then we'll be ready for the final touch. Should this be a bride who's coming to you in the salon and you're not going to be at the location, I would highly recommend keeping the clips in the hair with some tissue in between so the hair doesn't mark, and then she can release it afterwards. And remember, hairspray and then going in with the diffuser with the heat locks in that set even more.